Hello, everybody. Thank you for clicking on. We're a little late getting started tonight. President Biden had a news conference, had a press conference, and was watching that. So again, I'm a little late getting on here, but Chris will be on here at 9 o'clock, coming up in just a few minutes, and in the meantime, welcome everybody. And again, thank you for watching World Situation Report for Wednesday. Hopefully, we have a little better luck than we had on Monday. Um, let's see. We've got breaking news, so let's just get started right there. Um, breaking news! Breaking news! Breaking news! The UN Security Council has passed a resolution. Um, The UN Security Council calls for a temporary halt to fighting, and this was passed within the past few hours. Um, and it was made possible because the United States abstained from voting. Normally, the U.S. had blocked any calls for a ceasefire because Israel didn't want a ceasefire. And this time, instead of blocking it, the United States abstained. So the resolution passed. We'll see if it has any teeth. We'll see what it actually means. But it agrees. It is a step that might play into this step. Also, breaking news: Hamas agrees to tentative deal to free dozens of hostages, and this deal is pending Israel's approval. I imagine it has something to do with some sort of ceasefire. And again, this came in just 1 hour ago. So, breaking news: powerful magnetic storm is going to hit Earth tomorrow. This came in 5 hours ago. Those that have watched the show for a while know we've talked about the weakening of the Earth's magnetic field, which protects us from dangerous radiation from the sun. And we're going to get hit with a storm sometime tomorrow. Um, the storms we've been experiencing in the past have not been that severe. We've had some um, aurora borealis that have traveled quite far to the south from the northern pole, and quite far to the north from the southern pole. Um, so while those are beautiful, we also got to remember that that's not supposed to be happening. So, if there are any communication disruptions, any kind of internet or electrical, it could be because of this upcoming magnetic storm. Thousands in Washington rally for Israel. We're going to talk more about that coming up, and France has issued an arrest warrant for Syria's president. They call him their dictator, um, President Bashar Assad. Um, and El Al Assad was in Egypt recently with the giant summit that was held there that seems to have initiated some sort of moves. Um, Again, Biden had a press conference earlier, just a few minutes before coming on, and the press conference was after meeting with the Chinese President Xi. Um, Hang on a second while I'm thinking about it. I've got to run over here and drop the. Okay, let me see if I can get the link in there so when Chris pops on. Hey, Pat Tolliver. Hey, everybody. I'll be back over here in the chat in just a second. Hold on. Let me do it this way. And hopefully it is there. Um, Hello, Pat. Hello, Guy. Hello, True. Thank you all for being here. We are just getting started again. Chris coming on at 9 o'clock. China's state media has taken a new tone towards the United States ahead of today's meeting between the leaders. And it was hard. There were a lot of questions to Biden about Israel and Hamas. Uh, but it was hard to get a read on anything from Biden, honestly. Um, One of the main concerns has been fentanyl, so it'll be interesting to see um, what happens, um, if anything, in if anything was reached agreement wise. Um, let's see, we can go. This is interesting. Hundreds of Biden administration officials signed a letter demanding a ceasefire in Israel Hamas war. Again, this was 18 hours ago from USA Today and the United States. If you're just joining us, breaking news at the top: the UN Security Council um, has adopted a resolution demanding a ceasefire in Gaza, and it was only possible because the United States abstained. Um, and there was a lot of obviously hundreds of Biden administration officials alone, but there were a lot of government officials that were um, pressing for a ceasefire, for the U.S. to support a ceasefire, despite Israel not wanting a ceasefire. And even in the crowd yesterday, um, while they were peaceful and while they were not attacked, um, there were lots of chants of no ceasefire, no ceasefire, no ceasefire. So um, it will be interesting to see if one can be negotiated now that the United Nations has a resolution. As far as how much weight that will carry, according to Israel, it's um, it's going to do what it has to do. Iran tells Hamas this again. This is another one of the breaking stories. Iran tells Hamas it will not enter the war with Israel. Again, are all these things true that these governments are saying? If so, we are getting a different geopolitical picture than we've had um, since October the 7th. So, or is this is this a a rouge? Um, Chris, great timing. Let's see if we can bring you on without bringing the whole thing down like last time. How are you, man?
Pretty good. How about yourself, Bear?
I'm hanging in there. I'm
Good.
hanging in there. It's been a stressful, actually, things have been stressful this whole entire week. But anyway, um, I look forward to this because, I feel like we're trying to do something important for people. And man, I don't know if you heard, but the UN has adopted a resolution for a ceasefire. United States abstained. We've got the headline up here. Iran tells Hamas it will not enter the war with Israel. Um, are these bluffs? Are these realignments? Because I know Turkey and Iran have opened up communications again, opened up embassies. What's going on?
All right. So they said they weren't going to enter the war with Israel, right?
Hmm.
Now, is that directly or indirectly? They never specified.
No, it wasn't specified. It was just a message that um, allegedly Iran has informed Hamas that it is not going to come in. They're not going to fight Israel on the side of Hamas. They didn't say they weren't going to attack the United States if necessary.
Okay. So they're gonna fight with Hezbollah then, or is Hamas by themselves?
It sounds like Hamas is by themselves.
Okay. So
Or
supposedly.
or well, the Houthis. I don't know what Hezbollah, but Hezbollah's been kind of making the same undertones that they're not, they're not directly tied to Hamas, but Israel strengthened their forces on the northern border.
Okay. So pretty soon they're going to attack Lebanon, the southern part of Lebanon. I mean, they've been going at it, but
Yeah,
I don't
right.
think it's been,
Exchanging missiles, exchanging mortars, exchanging heavy artillery.
right. So some rockets, maybe some missiles, some mortar,
Yeah.
or but like I said, remember I brought up that article. And I think you posted that article about the oil platform.
Yes. Yeah.
So so if they're saying like they're not supporting Hamas on this, at first they said yeah we're supporting them, but now they're pulling back. I'm kind of like wondering what's the reason. Okay, everyone talks behind closed doors. I really don't know what the reasoning is.
Okay, so Israel has, or or Hezbollah.
Hmm.
Hezbollah has a reason for going to war with Israel, but it's not Hamas.
No, it's over that oil that's off the coast of Lebanon.
Hmm.
That's in Lebanon's waters, and that's their AO, and Israel is saying that it's theirs, but they have the platform. The platform is theirs, but it's actually in international waters. But it's in Lebanon's territory, so it's actually Lebanon's. And that can yield billions of dollars. Okay, all that oil that
Hmm.
they're talking about is going to yield billions of dollars. And the EU is complaining about like, well, we don't have any oil, or you know, um, so that could actually give fund or fuel the EU for the for
Because Africa's cut off EU.
right, right. So the whole thing about it is, and this is what I'm seeing. Who's going to get the money out of that?
Yeah.
Is it going to be Israel, or is it going to be Lebanon or Hezbollah? So
And
it,
there's
it
enough money that it's worth going to war over.
exactly. So, and one thing I listened to Nelson Mandela, and Mandela had said, we're pieces, like we'll go. I'm just going to paraphrase this, but he kind of was hinting at, all right, so we only use violence when everything else has failed. You see, so
Hmm.
what I'm thinking, all the diplomacy has failed here, and now it's time for the violence to start, and that's why they're going to be going to war. And it's going to be over this oil and the money that that they're going to win or lose. One side's going to win, one side's going to lose. But here's the thing: talk about the United States and how we're trying to get oil as well. So of course we're gonna support Israel,
Yeah.
because if Israel loses, that means we lose too. You see, because Israel's going to split that oil with us, right?
Yeah. I I
Um,
I don't think the UN resolution is going to have any teeth. I don't think
it
it's
doesn't.
going to matter.
It doesn't. That means absolutely zero.
Okay.
Israel's going to do exactly what they want to do.
That
Know that
was,
right
yeah,
now.
that was my um we've talked on here about both sides wanting to wipe each other off the map.
Hmm.
Um I've got a let's see how long is this? I've got a video here. It's like a minute and a half long.
Right.
Um this is Israeli children being taught hate speech and racism.
Hmm.
Um and let me make it big so that everybody can read the words in case you don't speak Hebrew.
כשאני אומרת לכם ירושלים, מה עובר לכם בראש? מה זה ירושלים? בית המקדש.
כותל. מה
כן.
עוד?
מי מאמין שבית המקדש ייבנה בשנים הקרובות? מה יש שם עכשיו על בית המקדש? אז מה יקרה עם המסגד? יישבר? אם מכן פגש בשנה האחרונה ילד ערבי?
איפה פגשת ילד ערבי? ליד הכותל.
ודיברת איתו?
לא, הוא דחף אותי, אבל לא הלך.
ומה קורה כשאתם רואים ילד ערבי? מה אתם מרגישים?
רגשות זעם.
זעם? מה קורה כשאתם פוגשים ילד חילוני? למה אתה מרחם עליו? שלום לחרדים, מה הוא מפסיד?
הוא לא הולך בדרך.
כשאתם חושבים על ירושלים בעוד 10 שנים, כולם חרדים?
לא כולם ערבים, חלק חרדים.
כולם יהודים, ויש גם ערבים שהם עובדים.
תהיה משיח, הבנתי. כן, מה אתה אומר?
שמלחמה כל הערבים ימותו, וחלק מהם יהיו עבדים.
קיבלת את כל הסיפור שלך. ילדים, תודה רבה. תודה רבה. תמשיכו להצליח ולראות אתכם בישיבות.
Okay. Comments?
Do you have one on the opposite side where the Palestinians talk about?
Yeah, I've seen several of those. No, I don't. This is the only one I've seen of it on the Israeli side.
Yeah.
I've seen several on the Palestinian side. Actually, I saw today earlier a video of rockets being launched out of Gaza in a part of Gaza City that has not been occupied yet, and the kids in the street whistling and applauding for the rockets going into Israel. So this is not the reason I showed that, and the reason I said what I said before. Both want to wipe each other off the map, and they are conditioning the youth on both sides to have that goal.
Right, to hate. Right?
Yeah.
That's what it's really about. You know, I hate you, and you really have no reason to hate each other. You really don't. Barry, let me tell you some of my experiences when I was there in Israel, specifically when I gone to Hebron,
Okay.
in the West Bank. I'll just leave this one here. All right. When we gone to Hebron, you know, I was with the Israeli police, and I'll never forget what the police officer had said to myself and to the guys we were with. They're like, them, don't even talk to them. You know, they're pieces of shit. They're no good, and this and that. And I'm thinking to myself, well, what do you think? Like, what do you think they think about you? You know, things run on a two-way street. You know, and they, like I said, to me, they were very hospitable, very kind to me. You see.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, why are you saying that these people were pieces of shit and they're no good, but they treated me really well? Maybe they just don't like you and the things you've done to them. You see, that's the conclusion I came to. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I mean that's just one. That's just one, and I'm gonna keep it there. But the whole thing about it is when you're bringing these kids up to hate each other, and like I said, there's really no reason to. And like I said, before the Zionists moved in, everyone lived together without any problems like this. You see,
Before the Zionist movement.
Yep. Before the Zionists came to Israel, everybody was okay with each other.
And yeah, and we talk all the time about there's Zionists, there's Jews, and there's Israelis. You can be all three, but it's not a I mean, it's that's not the reality. There are Jews that do not like what's going on. There are Israelis that do not like what's going on. There are no Zionists that do not like what's going on. And you do not have to be Jewish to be a Zionist. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's correct. So Zionism is just it's the political belief system of one having the Jewish homeland all for himself, or to Solomon. I mean, only for the Jews.
Right.
That's it. That's
Right.
It's a nationalistic political view. That's all it is. That's what Zionism is. And believing, hey, we're God's chosen people. This is our land, and we're the ones supposed to be here. No one else is supposed to be here. That's it.
And it's kind of what's happening with the Christo-fascist movement in the United States, in the fact that it's um, if you're not white, you're not right.
Yeah,
Is
yeah. I guess
and
it's
and there's and man, I can't believe they're going to open up the whole George Floyd thing again. Supposedly, there's a new body cam footage that come out that is going to change everything, and all the black people are going to be demonized once again.
well,
Yeah, I mean, are we surprised? No, but uh, the I want to ask you this, and this is outside of your realm, but I just mentioned the Christo-fascist movement in the United States, and um, they don't like the Jews. They don't like the Muslims. They don't like anybody that is not exactly like them. Are they still as dangerous in the time we're in now, or I've got some stuff on the X scroll. Hamas has basically declared, Biden's responsible for Israel taking over the hospital, which is something we're going to touch on in just a minute. Um, should, it's like I want to ask, what's the biggest threat in the United States at the moment? Is it outside or inside? Let's
it's
just
both.
leave it at that.
It's both. And
Okay.
from what you're telling me, it's both.
All
So
right.
you're telling me this Christo fascist thing, and they're saying, well, we don't like Muslims and we don't like Jews. Like what?
Catholics.
Like
Um,
come on, like stop already. Okay, it's just totally ridiculous because what's going to come down to now, it's going to turn into you're going to have Muslims conducting or members of like Islamic extremist groups conducting attacks on these Christo fascist groups and then the Jewish community, you see, and then you have the Christo fascists conducting attacks on the Muslim community as well as the Jewish community, right? And
yeah.
then I haven't heard any Jewish people in the Jewish community conducting any attacks on anybody here in the United States lately. So
Right.
you
Right.
know,
Yeah.
um,
But
but
the FBI, the director of the FBI, was on the Hill today, and he said that ISIS had re-entered, and we've been talking about ISIS for a few weeks. But ISIS has re-entered, and they have put out the call for suicide bombers upon any Jewish person anywhere, and upon especially in the United States.
right, well, so that's what Khalid Mashal did during the global jihad. And remember, I told you he's calling for martyrdom operations.
Right.
Martyrdom operations, nothing more than suicide bombers. And all right, once you do go out and might maybe do an active shooter, but in the event during that you're end up getting killed. That's all martyrdom stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And so ISIS is just basically picking up with what um, Khalid Mashal said. There's really no difference in what they're saying.
But there's a difference in ideologies between ISIS and the other groups, correct?
All right, so Hamas's ideology is, remember we talked about Hamas and their belief system is, it's, I think, the Islamic revolutionary, right?
Mm-hmm.
So their whole thing is freedom for the Palestinians, get rid of the Zionist, and we want to take back our land.
Yeah, from the river to the sea.
Right. So we
Yeah.
want to take back, Palestine.
Mm-hmm.
But the PLO was the same way. or the Fatah. Well, it was the PLO, and they were kind of like the same way, but they were swayed into um, not being so violent and coming through diplomatic channels, as opposed to the way Hamas is, and the Islamic resistance. Right. That's what you see. The PLO was pretty much the same way Hamas was for the longest.
Yeah.
They're pretty much the same thing.
Right, blowing up buses in the 70s and 80s. Yeah, I
The
remember all that.
hijackings and all that stuff. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what they did, right?
Hmm.
So, but then they changed. Uh, they changed for whatever reason, right?
The
And
terrorist becomes the politician.
right, just like the Irgun. Remember,
Hmm.
I talked to you about the Zionist terrorist Irgun, right? How they did all the murders, the mass murders, the massacres, the blowing up of the King David Hotel, right?
Hmm.
Eventually, they became a political entity, right? Got thrown into politics, and that group actually is a spinoff of the Likud party,
Yeah.
which now Netanyahu is the president of or prime minister of Israel, but that's where it comes from, the Irgun, a terrorist organization. So do you see like do you see like how like it's all the same, whether
Yeah.
it be how it be whether it be from the Israeli side or it be from the Palestinian side, they all came from so-called resistance movements. Okay.
Yeah. Both sides did.
Right. So, like, there's really no difference between any of the three of them. Because now they're all political parties. You see, Hamas is a political party, Palestinian Authority is a political party, and Likud party is a political party. You see, they're
Yeah.
all the same, and they all came from so-called resistance movements, but they're really terrorist organizations. That's it.
And we haven't talked about it in a while, but we will see the same thing eventually come out of Haiti.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Yeah.
So that's you see how all this stuff is still the same no matter
Yeah.
what country you go to.
Yeah.
It's all the same.
Yeah. I
So,
got it. I've got up on the screen press conference or a press release from Hamas. We hold the occupation and President Biden fully responsible for the Nazi occupation army's storming of the Shifa medical complex. They're calling the Jewish army Nazis.
well,
Uh,
well, well, well. Remember we had that discussion before.
yeah, yeah. That's why I wanted to show it because we talked about this a few weeks back.
Hmm. So the whole thing about it is remember how Hitler uh, was and the Nazis were all about getting rid of the Jews.
Right.
Okay, and it was about genocide, right?
Hmm.
That's what do you
The
that's
final solution.
right.
Yes.
It was about genocide, correct?
Yes.
Right. So now you have this whole thing of Zionism in um, Israel, right? And the whole thing about Zionism is it's a completely Jewish state, okay? And we don't, the Arab slash Palestinians aren't supposed to be there, right? So we talked about the Nakba, right?
Hmm.
And we talked about the massacres, in 48 and up to 48, right?
Hmm.
And then even now today, right? And I told you their whole goal was to get rid of the Palestinians, correct?
Yes.
So if their whole goal is to get rid of the Palestinians, then it has to be genocide. You
Right.
see,
Yeah.
there's no like there's no other way to put it. They're not
No.
trying. They're not trying to. We're not trying to put you somewhere else. Okay.
Right.
I'm pushing you down. Okay. Um, I'm telling you go from North Gaza to South Gaza, but I'm bombing South Gaza, right?
Yeah, they dropped leaflets earlier today in some areas of South Gaza telling them to go to the safe spots, leave their homes immediately and go to the safe spots. So
So what are the safe spots?
I'm guessing around the hospitals.
and they're bombing the hospital. Okay,
Yeah,
got it. Right.
yeah,
So you talk. That's Gaza. Now let's talk about the West Bank and what they're doing in the West Bank. Okay,
okay.
so now what they're doing is they're arming the Israeli or the settlers, right?
Mhm. Yeah,
And what the settlers doing? It's pretty much they have carte blanche to do what they want
they're
to
they're
to
burning fields and running people out of their homes and off their land.
right, and probably killing them too. So it's kind of I'm not a rocket scientist, but I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to figure this one out.
No.
You know, you're
Yeah,
trying to get rid of your people.
they're
You're
trying to get
trying to
rid of the Palestinians.
right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
So how is that really any different than what the final solution was to what they're doing right now?
So, I as you were talking, I kind of drifted off into thought for a moment, and the thought that came through my head was, um, 30 years from now, Zionism may be looked at as the most evil thing ever to happen on earth.
Yeah, true.
I mean, if you right now you wouldn't think of comparing Zionism and Nazism, but they are in Gaza,
It, and
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 that's
yeah, and
and you know what? How can I phrase this? It seems like the oppressed became the oppressor. You see,
hmm yeah,
the oppressed became the oppressor. So obviously, they've learned a lot from the Nazis because they're pretty much doing the same things the Nazis, um, the Nazis did to the Jews are doing to the Palestinians. Put them in ghettos, right? Put them in
yeah,
ghettos and did all sorts of crazy stuff to them, just like they're doing in Gaza, right? Gaza got 2.2 million people. Um, it's been referred to as an um, open field concentration camp. You see, it's
yeah.
the ghettos, right? So how is that like really different than what the Nazis did to the Jews back in World War II,
In the beginning, before
right?
they
In the
started
beginning,
the camps.
exactly.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
how is that really any different?
It's a
You
great
see,
point. Yeah, something to think about.
right? And then, but then um, historically, we've gone through this over and over again, and like I said, I'm trying to show the patterns here,
hmm
of okay, look, this is what this is, and this is what this. Or can you make the correlation between the two? you know,
Yeah.
and I hope your audience. I'm pretty sure your audience can make the correlation between the two because
Uh,
you're pretty much
yeah.
trying to hammer it home to them, right?
Well, and plus, there are a lot. I mean, we have a smart audience. We have an audience that has a higher intelligence than most, because otherwise they wouldn't be watching.
Right,
Because we talk about serious things, and there's so much stupid stuff that a lot of stupid people don't take time to watch.
right,
Um,
exactly.
let's move to the Al Shifa Medical Complex. Um, this is what was shown, um, as the take from the Israeli raid, or at least a part of the take. And there's like 9 guns here, um, and there's some grenades and stuff. It doesn't look like it was a massive weapons complex.
No, I mean they probably just hide weapons, you know. Um, it just seems like just small arm stuff. It's not like
Right.
it's not like they're hiding the rockets and
Yeah, but I
so
mean, that's kind of how it was portrayed to justify them going after the hospital. And 5 hours ago, Israeli forces reportedly begun to storm several other buildings which were not previously searched within the complex. I've got reports of them telling everybody they had to go outside into the courtyard, of them, and these are all unverified, of Israel supposedly taking babies and and potentially going to, the other side saying they're going to use them for hostages. We in Israel are saying they're going to get them to um, infant care centers and try to get them to survive. So a whole bunch of propaganda is going to come out of all of this, and I just never see good optics in attacking a hospital.
No, not at all. And I think you said that I think Biden gave the Israelis the okay to attack the hospital. Well, if that's what their IO, when I talk about IO, information operations campaign, is, it's really just to um, give others like ISIS and AQ, like they'll be like, oh, really? So um, Biden gave them the okay to hit that hospital like that. Well, we'll show Biden when we start launching attacks in the United States. That's the way I take a look at it.
Yeah, and that's what I'm hoping everybody watching, gets that and shares that. We're not trying to cause panic or anything like that. We're just being real that the rhetoric in and of itself, and Biden in the press conference mentioned given the green light or something along those lines, and that Israel didn't rush in there. They did it, with just a few troops, and he tried to really downplay the whole thing, but it was like they had our permission to do this.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Like Biden really doesn't have really much. You're operating on their turf. You see what I'm saying? They have the control. The United States doesn't have that control. Israel's going to do what Israel wants to do. So the United States doesn't have that type of authority to sit there and say, yeah, go ahead, go hit that hospital. That's an Israeli decision.
Right.
But what they're trying to do is they want to garner support from everyone else to turn against the United States, showing, hey, you know what? The United States gave the okay to do this. They're jacked up. They're trying to get our kids killed. You see?
Are we? And we have to keep asking this. Are we aching to get attacked? Are there those in the government that we've got bait all around the world? Attack us. Somebody attack us.
Well, it's coming. I've told you this, from that jihad, the
That Friday.
yep, that was it right there. No one has ever done that ever.
Right.
You see, so once that happened, I was like, we got problems.
One of the destroyers that is in the uh, carrier group, Eisenhower carrier group, shot down a drone launched from the Houthis in Yemen earlier today, and the
Then
drone was heading towards the ship.
the drone was heading towards the ship. So who shot it down? Our government.
Our one of our destroyers, the Thierson, I think was the name of it.
Uh huh. So
Yeah,
so we shot down a drone. Okay, good.
yeah.
Good. We shot down a drone. So um, that's a good thing, because we don't want any U.S. military service members getting injured.
Absolutely.
We don't want that to occur.
No, we don't.
So they shot it
Or
down.
yeah, we meaning you and I. I don't
Right,
know. I can't speak for the entire government or administration or country, but you and I don't want anybody, service members, injured in any way, shape, or form.
right,
But they're where they're all placed at the moment are all flashpoints that could
r-
go off at any time.
right. So I also think the Houthi rebels said they're going to start attacking naval vessels anyway.
Right, they're going to start attacking Israeli shipping,
Right,
Israeli commercial vessels.
right. Them, and then also I think our vessels as well. So um,
And there are people, I don't think people, well, maybe I ought to touch on that Friday night. Maybe I ought to show a map Friday night of the amount of sea traffic that
mhm,
goes on in that region.
uh-huh.
Because if all of a sudden it's not safe to transverse those waters, prices on everything skyrocket.
Exactly. That's a commerce issue right there, and yeah, I think we know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So the other thing. Oh, I know. I want to discuss. I want to know if we have enough time for this. Um,
Sure.
is I've been hearing a lot of stuff from the African American black community on why we shouldn't why we should not get involved with supporting Palestine or Israel. I mean, here's the thing. I don't really care either way, right? But I kind of like to use logic and past historical references so people can make a more educated decision before they say things like that. You see what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Yeah.
So,
Go ahead,
um,
man.
so,
Platform's yours.
so I, I take a look at the reason um, the Palestinians and Black Americans kind of share the same fight to a certain extent. And not to say, like I said, I'm neutral, but I'm pointing things out to people.
Right.
All right,
Giving
so
people things to think about.
exactly.
Yeah.
So we can go back to the 70s and actually the 60s when like the PLO and the Palestinian thing was pretty big.
The
And
Panthers over here.
yep, yes, and I'm about to bring them up.
Okay.
So Malcolm X was a pretty big supporter of the Palestinian cause and actually met with the PLO leaders and the Palestinians in Palestine and discussed this issue. I know he had he understood the issue. Okay, he didn't make it a Muslim Jewish issue. He made it more or less a colonial white issue over, should we say, brown people.
An
Mm,
oppressor,
right,
an oppressor oppressed issue.
exactly. That's how he looked at it and kind of you know put it in the same way of us being the United States. Okay. Also, who else? The Black Panther Party, right? They were a really big supporter of the Palestinians and the PLO. And I think in '79 they went to go meet with some of the Palestinian leaders.
Was this year? This was Yasser Arafat at that
Yep.
time, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Right. So um, he went to meet with them. I think they met in Tunisia. Matter of fact, the Black Panther Party met with the PLO and the Palestinians in Tunisia, and they had a pretty good relationship because of the same issues. All right, and it was really because of the occupation of Israel and what they were doing, but then also it was a fight for freedom, but also a fight for over white supremacy. You see,
Mhm.
the same things we're fighting here in the United States. Muhammad Ali also he went to southern Lebanon, right, to refugee camp, and he made inroads very well with the Palestinians, and he was a really big supporter of the Palestinians in their fight, the same way Jesse Jackson was, because he went over and met with Yasser Arafat as well. And he also was a big supporter of the Palestinians in their
And
cause.
for those that don't remember, Jackson was the leader of the Rainbow Coalition.
Right,
Uh, and that's not an LGBTQ thing. That kind of grew into that, but it was uh, representing all that were underrepresented.
right. So, and then we also because I heard a whole bunch of stuff. Well, what have the Palestinians done for the Black community? And I just like to remind people about Nelson Mandela and the ANC and how Yasser Arafat and Mandela said this. He's like, um, he said about it was Fidel Castro, Muammar Gaddafi, and Yasser Arafat all supported him. But he said it just wasn't with rhetoric, it was with resources. Okay. So to the black, well, I'm not going to say that, but to what I really want to say is, look, pay attention to historical facts, right? Before people sit there and say, well, what have the Palestinians done to us? Keep in mind that Palestine is actually pretty small. Israel is only only the size of New Jersey.
Yeah.
Israel
Yeah.
is small.
Yeah.
Israel is really small. Gaza is only 25 miles long.
Right. I interviewed a man in Indianapolis at a protest, a Palestinian man born in Bethlehem, and he said, um, you know, um, Gaza, Indianapolis is bigger than Gaza. You
Yeah,
know, one end of Indianapolis to the other end of Indianapolis is bigger than Gaza, and you've got, you know, you had 2.5 million people crammed in there.
exactly. But then, you go to the West Bank, it's got like 3 million. So altogether, you're looking at maybe like 5 million people for all of Palestine. 5 million. And then I hear certain groups saying, well, they don't do anything for us. Like, it's 5 million people compared to 30 million. You see?
Hmm.
But historically, the black community, or at least those leaders, were really close to the PLO and to the Palestinian movement, because it was really what was the fight was pretty much the same fight for us, a fight for freedom against white supremacy. So, that's the correlation there. But furthermore, we talk about Nelson Mandela and the ANC. The ANC is nothing more than what Hamas is today. that's what it is. They were fighting against um, apartheid, white supremacy, self-determination, and for freedom. That's
Self self-determination and freedom are are huge terms, and um, I was asked, how can the United States support Israel when Palestine is fighting for its freedom and its right to exist? Well, and then the counter to that is Israel is fighting for its right to exist peacefully and not under threats of terror. Um, you, it seems like governments are forced to take a side in determining um, which humans are more valuable.
right, right. But to me, a life's a life. You see what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, me
It,
too.
to me, I'm like, I don't really see the difference, between a Palestinian life and an Israeli life. Your life's taken, and when you die, you just turn to bones anyway. So, like, wait, what's I don't get it. How is your life more valuable than this person's life? Like, it makes no sense to me.
But every time a side is taken in a conflict, that's what happens. You're choosing one side's life as more valuable than the others.
Exactly.
And John Hagee yesterday, the televangelist, spoke at this. I don't know why they had him speak there. At this the rally they had, uh, American Rally for Israel, and he said, the Jews and the Christians are one, and that didn't resonate. Um, Many people in the Jewish faith think that Christians are idol worshippers, and they don't believe Jesus was the Messiah, so they think we're evil.
So
Um,
and you know what, Barry? That's what I don't see, that whole um Christian evangelical thing.
mhm.
Like, I don't I like do you realize, like, they don't even recognize Jesus.
Yeah, and there are Christian, and I've got a video. I should have queued it up now that we're talking about it. But I saw a video earlier today of one of the rabbis complaining about we are at war, and there are people, using their privilege and their wealth to send evangelicals into our area to try to try to convert Jews into Christianity while they've got 11 seconds to run to a bomb shelter. And I mean, there are a whole lot of people in Israel unhappy
Well,
with.
see, and we do that to ourselves. Okay, that that is not the time or the place to even do that.
No, it's not. No, no.
So,
And I saw footage of them handing out things while people are in a bomb shelter. Here, you need to read this. Here, you need to read this. This is the truth. This is the truth.
that's the truth to you. That's not the truth to them.
Yeah, yeah. Um, okay, this is a little bit off. This is a. Do you have any more you want to talk about on that?
No, I'm good. I'm
All
good.
right, I'm sure we'll get comments, and we'll bring them. We'll bring that topic back on Friday night and
Yeah.
address whatever people have to say about it. Um, Mark Wayne Mullen, he's a senator. Have you seen this?
I have not.
Okay, I'm just gonna. Oh shoot, hold on. I'm just gonna hopefully play it and let everybody see this that haven't seen it. Um, he's a senator, and he's addressing the president of the Teamsters Union with about 6 Teamsters behind him.
Like he's self-made. Sir, I wish he was in the truck with me when I was building my plumbing company myself, and my wife was running the office, because I sure remember working pretty hard and long hours. Pretends like he's self-made. What a clown. Fraud. Always has been, always will be. Quit the tough guy act in these Senate hearings. You know where to find me. Any place, anytime, cowboy. Sir, this is a time, this is a place. If you want to run your mouth, we can be 2 consenting adults. We can finish it here.
Okay, that's fine. Perfect.
You want to do it now?
I'd love to do it right now.
Well, stand your butt up then.
You stand your butt up.
Oh, hold on.
Big
No,
guy.
no, stop it.
Is that your
All right.
solution every
Hold it. No, sit down. Sit down.
Okay.
You know, you're a United States Senator. Sit down.
Active.
Oh, okay.
Sit down, please.
All right.
Can I respond, Mr.
Hold
Chairman?
it. Hold it.
Bernie Sanders is the hero, and stops the senator from coming out and having a melee with one of the witnesses in a Senate hearing.
Yeah, pretty unprofessional, right?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I think as a United States senator, you should come on, man. You're representing our government. Okay,
Yeah.
you may not like this individual and the things that he's done. I get it, but for you to sit there in a hearing and to do something like that, it shows me, one, you really lack class. Okay, you lack class. It doesn't matter that you're elected. You're not a classy individual. Okay?
Exactly. And we're seeing a lot of that on Capitol Hill, in both houses, in the Senate
Right.
and in the House.
Right. I mean, as a senator, I expect you to be professional.
Yeah.
Okay.
But wait, there's more. Well, hold on. There it is. He also said in an interview after this that, quote, "I'm not afraid of biting," end quote. This was in an interview with a Politico journalist.
It's like, why is everyone so angry?
There's a whole lot of anger and rage in the world. Yeah, but this guy and politicians should be showing us how smart they are, not trying to prove how tough they are.
Right.
In my opinion.
Yeah, because you sit there and talk all that crazy stuff. Okay. Now what if he has some goons, and he's like, go visit this guy and see what he does.
He,
You
hey,
see?
if and there are different angles of what we just showed, but there are like 4 or 5 Teamsters sitting behind the guy. Um, so if this guy would have gotten up, I don't know if it'd have been one on one. Of course, it wouldn't have. There have been cops come in eventually, but um, yeah,
Not
this
not
guy.
not
This guy's just inviting goons to come to his house and in the middle of the night.
right. So I mean, it just not a good look. You know,
No,
not a
no.
good look.
All
So
right. Anonymous sent out a message. Each Palestinian child that has been killed will equal revealing the identity of one of Israel's spies. And
oh,
and
they reveal the spies. They're gonna get them killed. You know that, right?
yeah,
That so in the art of war, it talks about specifically what happens to spies, right?
hmm
And one I'm pretty sure, and um, you can go back and research this, but I think it says something like all spies die, something like
yeah,
that.
right. All spies die. Actually, Friday night I'll have the art of war. I'll have the basic premises prefaces of the art of war up, and we'll talk about that some on Friday.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, okay, they after warning Israel to cease fire and stop killing children, Anonymous released the names of apparent Israeli spies on Telegram. So not only did they threaten it, but they backed it up.
Oh boy.
Yeah, this and I don't think people understand the potential of what could come of all that. Um, all right, I thought you might appreciate this. Taliban on roller skates with assault rifles patrolling the streets of Kabul.
That looks stupid.
I've never seen it before.
That looks totally just no, that doesn't even look.
I've never seen that.
No, I've never seen that either. It just no.
And maybe it's the new thing, you know.
I guess.
Uh,
I guess.
oh, and okay, final thing. Speaker of the House Mike Johnson said that depraved America deserves God's wrath. Um, and he said, citing the increase in queer youth, Johnson called American culture. Hold on, let me get back here. Um, on a call with, he called American culture dark and depraved on a call with a Christian nationalist pastor. When asked, okay, I thought I had the article, but I don't. When asked about it, he was um, he was I don't know. The reason I posted this, the reason I put this at the end of the bookmarks here, is because to me, I talk a lot about the triangle of you create a problem, you blame somebody else, and then you claim to be the victim.
Yep.
Um, and I'm putting this up there to ask the question: is the Republican Party has created a massive problem? All right,
Uh-huh.
they're going to have God to blame now because it's going to be God's fault when everything happens, and they are going to be the victims just like everybody else. That's the reason I ended with this.
They're going to be the victims just like everyone else. Okay. Yeah. Well, um, I got to think about that one because it just.
Um,
Listen. We live in a very dysfunctional society. A very dysfunctional society. Okay.
yeah,
And I think everyone has a part to play in it. Okay. Republicans, Democrats, whoever. What I pretty much stay out of politics. I don't like politicians. I can't stand politicians. Um, but the whole thing about it is everyone had self interest groups and all this other stuff play a really big part in making America what it is today, and it's truly dysfunctional. Truly dysfunctional.
yeah,
And I was thinking to myself, I was like, man, I'd hate to be a parent today, or even give have and bring a kid into this world, because it's just like there's just no way. Like you,
Yeah.
there's just no way. Our society is totally jacked up.
And there aren't any simple solutions.
No, but I think you know from us taking away parents' rights from disciplining our children was like, for me, that was like the start. I was like, yo, if you start this stuff, it doesn't get any better. It's just gonna get worse.
Yeah.
You see. So and you can see what's going on with our youth today, and they're grown up, and now they got kids, and those kids are jacked up, and it's just going to be a continuing cycle. That's all. So
And
good luck.
the the House of Representatives adjourned today at about 3 p.m. For their Thanksgiving vacation.
Uh-huh.
Um, Left a whole bunch of stuff to do, including the fact that uh, the government's going to run out of money in 5 days if the Senate doesn't, or at the end of this week now, 4 days, 3 days, 2 days, if the Senate doesn't pass the bill that the House put forward. Um, if the Senate doesn't do that, the House isn't there. There's no way you can go back and redo anything.
Yeah, I think the Senate will pass it. I really do. I really do. I don't think they want that headache. You know.
Yeah, but my point is, what do we pay these people? I ran for Congress,
Right.
and I ran on, you know, um, Congress shouldn't. There should be, 6 years is all you should serve in Congress. You
Hmm.
shouldn't be there a lifetime. There should be term limits.
Right.
You should go there, do your thing, and then and let somebody else. Um, they don't do their thing unless their thing is. I mean, their thing seems to be getting out of Dodge when America is in crisis, and I just find that appalling.
Yeah. That goes to show you how much they really care, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So what I'm really saying is they don't care.
right, right, right. All right.
It's
We'll
just
see
what
you
it is.
Friday night.
For sure. We'll talk.
All right. You have a great night.
Hey, you too now.
As always, thank you, my friend.
All right. Take
All right,
care.
bro. See ya. Again, thank you all for being here. Thank you for clicking on, staying on. Thank you for watching. Whether you're watching live or at your convenience, it is greatly appreciated. And feel free to contact us. We've talked about a lot of stuff tonight. Breaking news: United Nations Security Council has passed a resolution calling for the ceasefire in Gaza. That was able to happen because the United States abstained. Biden met with Xi, the president of China, today. China supposedly said they are going to be responsible for their pollution, and they're going to try to limit fentanyl coming into the United States. And one of the main things that came out of it was that both sides agreed they need to have communication, especially on military matters. With the tension in the air, tension in the world, having communications is important. Xi, the president of China, said that the United States and China is the most significant bilateral um, agreement in the world, arrangement, relationship. The two biggest and most powerful countries in the world must maintain um, relationships and can coexist. So possibly some positives coming out of there. We'll see. Um, China could attack Taiwan as soon as he gets back in country. Who knows? And also Iran announcing that they will not come into the war for Hamas against Israel. Um, we'll see what significance all of these things have. And I'll be back on here with Chris, 9 o'clock Friday night, and we'll talk about it all again. Until then, Namaste, shalom, shalom, assalamu alaikum. Blessings be upon you. Peace. Love y'all like chocolate chip cookies. It's a dark world. Try to be a light. World needs more light.